Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Nicole and this is Dusty Book Sniffers, and today we are here for our weekly wrap up. It's actually a 2-weekly wrap up because I split October into 2, so let's get into it, shall we? Well, good morning or good evening, everybody. Thank you for taking some time out of your day and spending it with me while I prattle on about the books that I have read in the past 2 weeks. Normally I do weekly wrap-ups, but lately I've been a little bit strapped for time, getting ready to go to retreat and all that sort of stuff, so I haven't had a chance to do that. So I thought it would be just a lot easier if I split my October up into 2 weeks, and I'm actually really liking that format. So I may end up just taking this into the new year as well, because December is a very crazy time. We have a advent box that I'll be opening up those books on a daily basis, so you'll get to see what they are, and there'll be other videos going up as well, so it's going to be a crazy time. And also in November I'm just going to be vlogging all the way through, because the simple fact is I am a co-host for Team Mrs. White along with the lovely Neva from Reading Whenever, and so yeah. So basically, I will be vlogging my way through. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to start the process now for October and only have 2 videos. So anyway, I digress and I get off the track sometimes, but that is me. I like talking about books and my plans and all that sort of stuff, and you know, getting organized and doing all the things. But anyway, I have a number of books in front of me. I have books that I have closed out a series, continued on with a series, started a series, read a non-fiction, and still currently reading. So yeah, because at the time of filming this, it is the 31st of October, and I need to clear this off the deck because, as I said, I'm going into the Get a Clue as of the 1st of November, and because I'm in the Southern Hemisphere, I get a few hours grace, so I can just, you know, wrap things up and all that sort of stuff. So I thought I'd do all of this now. All right, so I'm going to, because I don't know where to start, I'm actually going to start with The Wheel of Time. So I finished book 9, which was great. After we went through book 8, which was a little bit of a sluggish book, it took a little time to get everything done. A few people have asked me, should I miss that book? Don't miss it, because it was very much placing everybody where they needed to be. This book has just moved everything along a little bit better. I'm still finding that I'm enjoying the world. I'm not going to go into great detail of it because there are enough people that talk about this book. You don't need to hear my take on it because I don't really have anything new to bring to the table. So I'm just going to tell you where I feel, what I'm feeling about it and all that sort of stuff. So I'm liking where we are right now. This, I felt like, was starting to really move along and things are going to start happening, so to speak. Matt came back into it at the end of it, because for a while there I didn't know what happened to Matt, because there was an accident and I didn't know whether he survived or anything, but no one sort of knew because it wasn't written. So which is the moment right there. But anyway, I'm thoroughly enjoying the series still. I don't feel like I'm getting bored at all, even though I'm into like I've started book 10. Like, I'm just really enjoying it. So on Monday we started book 10. I'm currently sitting at chapter 4. I do have to get up to chapter 6 before Friday, so when I'm doing my gardening a little bit later, I'll probably put that in and get up to chapter 6, because we're going to try and finish this in 2 weeks. And for those that don't know, I am buddy reading this with Coda right now. I originally was buddy reading it and was keeping pace with Storytime from Sid, but she's sort of got a little bit ahead of us now, and Coda and I sort of both put the book down at the same time at book 5 and picked it up at the same time. So we've just sort of continued on with that buddy read, and we're using my sprints that I have on Monday, Sunday. So Monday if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, Sunday night if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, and then Thursday, Friday. I listen to that, and that's how I start my sprints off. I listen to the 100 pages. But because these books are a little bit shorter, although they don't look shorter, there's 666 pages in this one, I think, or 64 pages. Oh, 60, sorry. I knew it was around there somewhere. So we divided that into 4. And so this time we're going to chapter 6. Normally I would have stopped at that, but all I can say, what the hell is the go with the long prologues? This prologue was 81 pages. 81 pages. Chapter 1, which continued on from book 9, because we found out like where it sort of ended in book 9, not exactly where it ended, but there was a storyline in book 9, continued on from chapter 1. Why did we have to have the And I'm going to go and listen to the podcast to find out why we needed this prologue. Whew. So after this one, we have a little short book, which is about 300 and 400 pages. It is a prequel, and we're reading in publication order. So that's why we're reading it after book 10, not at the beginning of the series. And I believe that we're having a discussion on Sprints the other day, and there are some spoilers in it, and that's why they suggest that you read it in publication order. But you can read it wherever you wanted, really, if you didn't really care about the spoilers. But there's so much happening. I mean, really, would you remember the spoilers with what is happening in the book? So yeah, I'm really thoroughly enjoying reading Wheel of Time. I'm still not bored. I'm like, it's like reading a new book every time. Like, you know, it's still the same characters and all the rest of it, but you're just in that world, and I just love it. And I'm not the first person to say so. All right, so the next one is a continue on in a series as well as it was that one, and that is Always Practice Safe Hex. This is by Julia Cross. She is my favourite author. One of my favourite authors. I love reading her books. This is following the story of the Savoy sisters, and this time we are with Livy Savoy. Each book is dedicated to one sister, and Livy is not a people person, and so basically she has been put in close proximity with a Grim Reaper, and his name is Gareth Blackwater, and he is a very stoic sort of dude, you know, very stern, very nonchalant type character, doesn't really give much away or anything like that. And the thing is, the Supernaturals don't know much about the capabilities of a Grim Reaper. And all that sort of stuff. So we learn the background of the Grims in this, because there's Grims, werewolves, vampires and witches in the series. I think that's all that's been mentioned so far. So yeah, so basically you find out a lot about the Grim Reapers and all that sort of stuff. And so these two don't really like each other to begin with. They're not enemies. It's more just close proximity, and then they don't really know much about each other, but then they don't really like each other either, and they end up, you know what happens. But it's very comedic. Like, I always have, it's a fun time read. I have a lot of laugh out loud moments. Just the banter between the characters and everything is absolutely fabulous. This is also available on Kindle Unlimited for those that want to read it and don't want to pay it. But I read the first one, which was Wolf Gone Wild, and absolutely adored it. And so I subsequently closed that book and then ordered the whole series and pre-ordered the last one, which has just which I think is called Grim and Bear It. And so yeah, so basically I am super happy that I got to read another one. I'm really stringing them out so I don't end up out of the world and out of this series, but in saying that, Julia Cross has several other series as well, so it's not all that she's written. This is not the only series that she's got, and I don't know if they are in the front of this book or not, but if you go to her website, they're all there. No, there's nothing in about the series. What about in the back? Oh yes, in the back. It's different in this one. So the Stay a Spell, this is the Stay a Spell series. Then we've got the Bulville series, which it's only got one book here, so yeah, so there's only one book there, so that must be a continuing series. Then we've got the Green Valley Hero series, Nightwing series, Veil of Star series, which has 4 books in it. Hunt the Dragon, no, sorry, that's 5 in that one. And we've got Vessel Trilogy, and we've also got Vampire Blood series, which has a few books in it. And we have Dominion series, Darkest Heart, Hardest Fall, and Coldest Fire. There's 3 in that one. So she has quite a number, and I am definitely going to be supporting this author because I just love her style of writing. I always have a fun time. I can't see why her other books won't be like that as well. So that is one that I read. I'm not going to say too much more than that because it's just a fun time read. All right, I also closed out a series as well, but I'm not 100% sure if I've closed out a series. I cannot find out if there's any more coming in this Faye's Revenge series. The first one was called The Gilded Cage. It sets up the story of Faye. She is in a relationship with a very narcissistic type dude, doesn't treat her all that well and all that sort of stuff, and she sort of doesn't know where she stands, and there's infidelity in that. It wasn't too badly done. It was the catalyst for the story for her to leave him. This is following on from that one, and so this time someone is trying to take everything away that she built up in the first book, and so it's a race for time to find out who it is, and then subsequently bring some people together to help her save everything, and she has to rely on other people. And there's a bit of a twist there, you know, and all that sort of stuff, which was really great. But the way it ended, like, I'm satisfied. Like, I was satisfied with the first one, how it ended. I didn't really need to have a second book. This one, for the first part of the book, I was like, meh, you know, like, yeah, okay, you're going to lose everything and all that sort of stuff. Her husband is, like, in jail, and in the first couple of pages, he escapes. And well, so basically, yeah, and then so there's just all this stuff that's going on, and a lot of it I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling a little bit bored with it and all that sort of stuff. But the second part of the book, it picked up a little bit, and it sort of raced home from there. It got to the end, and why I say I don't know whether there's a third book or not, and I can't find anything, is because the way it ended. There was just it ended on a bit of a cliffhanger. Now, this verse was published in 2021 in Great Britain. This particular paperback came out in 2022. The first one, I think, was from 2018. So there was a couple of years between the first one and this one. So there still could be a couple of years between it. It was just a little bit like it could go further, because there's certain things that are happening in the book, and there's been no, like, I'm just going to say, is she going to get away with it? Okay, so yeah, that's all where we're at the moment, and I feel like there could be more. So I'm going to say it's closed out because I can't find any other, but also up to date just in case one comes. Right. So I started a series as well. Thank you to Amy, who was the Discord member that picked our book. Thank you so much for picking this. I haven't written anything about it over in the Discord as yet because I wanted to do this video, and I'll just share the video over there and put the timestamp of where I talk about it and all that sort of stuff. All right, so this is called Green Rider. When I looked it up, there is a mention there that it is for the fans of Wheel of Time. So I'm like, okay, in the same sort of vein. And I thought, oh, am I going to want to read it because I'm already in the world of Wheel of Time? I haven't finished that, and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, I didn't know whether I was going to. I bought the book anyway because I could always go back to it if I wanted to. But I am so glad that I picked this up. I'm actually really happy with what I read and how it played out. It is very much like Wheel of Time in the aspect that we have a chosen one, a journey story. There are different things that happen in this book, a very similar vein to Wheel of Time, but I will say there are not as many characters as there are in Wheel of Time, and it's not overly complicated either. So it is for, like, if someone wanted to read the Wheel of Time but really didn't want to commit to 15 books, this is a series of 8 books and a lot easier to keep a track of, but still has that epic fantasy vibe. That was my experience. Now, someone else might have something completely different to say, but as I said, in the vein of a chosen one, a journey story, mystical characters, ghosts, you know, enemies, light against dark, all that sort of stuff is definitely playing out in this book as well, like Wheel of Time. So that's where the similarities end, basically, because it is very much a simpler world to keep a track of, and a great world to keep a track of as well. Like, you find yourself really wanting to, like, caring for the characters and what happens to them and all that sort of stuff. That is all I'm going to say about it, because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, because if someone's looking for a fantasy series, this is a really good one to start with. It's, as I said, it's not overly complicated. It's a pretty quick read as well. Like, I didn't find it to be a slog or anything like that. It is a very old book as well. It is written around the same time as the Wheel of Time books were coming out. I would even go as far as to say that this author, which is Kristen Britton, took inspiration from Wheel of Time as well, because there are certain words that are used in this that are also used, like blight was one of them, and it was pretty much describing what the blight was, and it's very similar to what it is. It's not like exactly the same, but it's very similar in that aspect. And this was published in first published in Great Britain in 2011. But it was, Kristen Britton wrote an extract from First Writer's Call in 2003, but there's also a copyright 1998. So I'm guessing she was writing it around that time and took her a while to, maybe she wrote the whole series before she went to the publishers, which is probably a smart thing to do. Considering some of the fantasy writers, we're still waiting for books, 10 and 12 years later. So anyway, but Green Rider, definitely one I'm going to be continuing on with, although I will not be going into it until next year, because we are going to be doing a buddy read, Coda and I, next year after we do the Harry Potter read along. So yeah, buddy read. And anybody that wants to join any of the buddy reads with Coda and I, we do them on sprints. So basically, Coda's in the comments, and basically, yeah, we're just chit-chatting about where we're going to read up to and all that sort of stuff, and then we converse it privately for Wheel of Time. But if you want to join us for the Green Rider, or you want to join us for Harry Potter, the more the merrier, I say. Come along and join in the fun. There'll be servers getting set up in the Discord and everything for when all that sort of stuff is starting. All right. Okay, so that was the start of a series. Then I read a somewhat non-fiction, which this is called Green Witch. This is just talking about the life of a Green Witch and what path she follows and how she connects and communes with nature and the magic that she finds in everyday things, such as flowers, plants, and the world around her. This has recipes for all sorts of things in here. It also has recipes for incense and all that sort of stuff, and I love doing all that sort of stuff, and I'm very much intrigued by that. It also gives you the meaning of plants and all that sort of stuff, and the magical elements that Green Witches draw from them, and it gives you tinctures and teas and all that sort of stuff, and just basically it is a way of life. And I love, as I said, I love reading about this sort of stuff. And so yeah, so it's your complete guide to the natural magic of herbs, flowers, essential oils, and more. That even has food recipes and stuff in it, and these sort of books I pick up all the time. Not much more I can say about that. I don't generally rate these books, but if I was to rate this book, I would probably say it is a 3.5, close to 4 star. And I haven't given you any of the ratings for these books. Practice Safe Hex was a 4-star read for me. This one was a 3.5 star read for me. This one was a 4-star read for me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Okay, so the next book that I read is called 3/5. This is predominantly a book about a young boy that is going through life as passing, meaning that he is biracial and he can pass for white. Now, there is some heavy content in this book. We're also following his friend who has just got out of jail, Aaron, and on their first night together, Aaron does something really stupid and basically puts the way of life in jeopardy for Bobby. Now, the N-word is mentioned in this book, so if you don't like reading about it, don't even bother picking this book up. But it's a really compelling story about the choices that we make, the lies that get told, and how we see ourselves and how we go through life. So basically, yeah, I would really like to read more from this author. I really enjoyed his narrative and how he spun this story, and whatnot. Now, there are going to be a little bit of spoilers in this book because I can't get away from talking about the book without giving you some tiny, tiny little spoilers. Now, basically, the way the story plays out, Bobby's mum is an alcoholic. Bobby's working, trying to get more shifts. They're always struggling to make ends meet. They're pretty much living below the poverty line, in my opinion, and just struggling through life, basically. Now, as I said, Bobby is passing, and the reason that he is doing that is because his father was his grandfather rather is a racist, and there's no other way to say, but he's just a flat out racist, and just the things that he grew up with and all that sort of stuff. He didn't realize that he was black until he was 11, when he got into a fight with some neighbors who were black, and that's when his mother had dropped the bombshell that he was biracial, and subsequently from that, the mother's father and Bobby's grandfather threw them out. Okay, that's how much of a racist he was. Threw them out, and so that's why they've had a hard life and all that sort of stuff. So Anyway, that is the background for Bobby and his mum. And then we've got Aaron, who had gone to jail. I think he went to jail from memory for dealing drugs. So he was in jail. He was in for 3 years. Bobby went to visit him in jail, and basically Aaron told him never to come back and visit him. And on that very first visit, obviously something very traumatic had happened to Aaron, and this has actually changed the way he perceives everything throughout life and all that sort of stuff. He was taken under the wing. He's got a big Nazi tattoo, swastika sign on his belly and all that sort of stuff. So it gives you a sort of picture of where he's at. Okay. And so basically, something happens on the first night, and this changes the narrative of the story and how it's going to play out and all that sort of stuff. Now, I will say the N word is mentioned in here. It is pretty hard-packed. It does pack a punch, this book. It's a very short book. It only has 251 pages in it, but it very much packs a punch. And that's all I'm pretty much going to say on it. So if you're interested in reading about this sort of stuff where, you know, you've got someone coming out of jail, then you've got someone that's passing, and just the conversations that they have and how they, you know, their thought process and how they're trying to get through life and all that sort of stuff, you know, justifying why they are passing and all that is covered in this book. And the way it ended was just, whoa. Yeah, and so we get to know Bobby a little bit better. We get to know Aaron and his motives for the reason he acts, and we also sympathise with Bobby's mum, who is just struggling. You know, she's really, really struggling, and whatnot. So, and you will love to hate the grandfather. Because he's a douche. There's no other word for it. He was just an ass. So yeah, but really good book. I'm really looking forward to reading more by this author. I love it when I get these books in book grocer boxes and they're just so, they pack a punch. They're really informative. They get you thinking about different things, different aspects and all that sort of stuff. And you come across a new author to go and suss out. So I haven't gone and had a look and seen what other books that this author has, but I'm pretty happy to go and see and get a few more on the shelf and read more by him. So yeah, all right. So the next one, we're going to, you know, a bit of a thriller. This one is by Michelle Campbell. It is called The Wife Who Knew Too Much. He said it was forever, and he lied. All right, so meet the first Mrs. Ford. Beautiful, accomplished, wealthy beyond imagination, married to a much younger man, and now is dead. Meet the second Mrs. Ford. Waitress, small town girl, married to a man she never forgot from an affair 10 years ago, and now she's wealthy beyond her imagination. But who is Connor Ford? Two wives who loved him and knew him only as wives can. Who is the victim? Who is the villain? And who will be the next to die? Yeah, that pretty much sums up the book in a nutshell. So as it said on the back, we have a waitress from a small town. What was her name? Oh my goodness. Tabitha is her name. And yeah, so she is basically telling the story. Connor is a player in the story, the first wife. All right, so we're following the story of Nina is the first wife, and Tabitha is the second wife, and then we've got Connor, and we've got other players in the playground as well. So we have, you know, this very wealthy woman, Nina, basically opens up the story July 4th. I'm writing to raise the alarm in the event of my untimely death is the first sentence. Okay, and it's at a July 4th party that she's at, and she's writing in her journal. So basically we have Nina, who is wealthy beyond your imagination, runs these massive parties and all that sort of stuff, and is married to Connor, and they have a prenup. So if he cheats, he gets nothing. If he lasts and she instigates it, then he gets 10 million. Bit of a money grubber. And all that sort of stuff. So yeah, so there was all that, and then we've got all the people that are around Nina. Okay, then we meet Tabitha, and Tabitha works in a diner. She is hard pressed to have a job. You know, she's struggling to make ends meet, and she's working one night, and who should happen to be in her place of work but Connor. And basically she had a hot and heavy teenage romance with Connor when she was young, 10 years earlier, and hasn't seen him since because they ended up having to separate because his grandmother was brutal and did not want him fraternizing with the help, so to speak. Anyway, they get real hot and heavy again and decide that he's having an affair. So this means that he gets no money. Now, we know this in the first couple of chapters. Tabitha's a bit of a hoe, though. She goes home with him straight away. Like, okay. But anyway, and the story unfolds from there. So, going through the book, it's a very twisty and turny sort of story. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's fast-paced. It moves. It has It has multiple POVs. I really enjoyed this book. The book it was very pacey for me. It moved really quickly. The twist at the end was good. It wasn't an absolute cracker like I've read better, but it was still a really good ending. I liked what she ended up doing in the end with Tabitha, the main character. There are characters in here that you'll love to hate. There are characters in here that are questionable and doing things that you're not too sure about, and all that sort of stuff. It was a great quick read. I got this on BorrowBox, and I immersive read the first few chapters, but then I got on with my day and listened to it, and I didn't want to turn it off. I wanted to know what was happening. So in my opinion, that's a pretty good book, and I've given this one a 3.5 star rating. No, actually 3.75 I'll go. I don't normally do the 0.75s, but this is pretty close to a 4-star for me. Lots of enjoyment, lots of intrigue, lots of twists and turns, and not confusing at all, even though it was POV and all that sort of stuff. Thoroughly enjoyed that one, and highly recommend if you're just looking for a quick read, weekend read, sit down, fall into a story, you will thoroughly enjoy it. I don't think I gave this a star rating. I'm actually giving this a 4.5 star rating, so I'm pretty happy with that. All right, now to continue on. I know it's a long video. I am still currently reading. I picked this up. I read the first chapter and then I put it down and haven't picked it up. So I'm going to finish this while I'm away over the weekend, and this will close out this series because this is the last book in the series. So I've got a weekend away coming up, so I'm going to read that then. And then I picked up this one here, which is a Jacqueline Moriarty. It is this, and yes, Moriarty, the same as Leanne Moriarty, her sister. So this one here is very interesting so far. I'm really enjoying it. Basically, the main protagonist at the age of 15 received an anonymous letter in the mail, and it was a chapter of a book, and they're called the guidebook. I had to think then what it was called, because it talks about many different books in the books within the book when we get to a certain part. It is broken up into parts. I think there is quite a number of parts. Part 16. So it's broken up into parts, and each part is we're unraveling a little bit of a mystery right now where I'm at. Right now I'm currently sitting on 249. So I'll pick this up at some stage and finish this out this week. So you'll get to hear more about it. But I'm actually having a really good time. I love the banter in it. It's a lot of Australian humour in it as well, being an Australian author. So that is always a bonus. The other one that I am reading, which is an absolute cracker, and I'll probably finish this out today. This is The League of Gentlewomen Witches, and this is by India Holton. The first book in this series is The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels. Now, I don't know what there's not to like about this book, because it has pirates, witches, houses that fly, magic, and enemies to lovers, and it's written as if it was a Jane Austen novel. So it has that Victorian speech and all that sort of stuff. So hence the name Gentlewomen Witches, and all that sort of stuff. And in this one, we are following the story with Charlotte and, what is his name? Let me just think. Alex. And so, yeah, and they're, without giving anything away, because I don't want to talk about it until I'm finished, but it's basically an enemies to lover, because they are sworn enemies. and that's what it is. But it has a little bit of spice in it and all that sort of stuff. Not overly spicy, but it has a little bit of spice and it's alluded to, and it's very prim and proper and all that sort of stuff. But it has swear words in here, so yeah, like it's a great, and you know, and alludes to what he does with his tongue and this, that, and the other, and all that sort of stuff. And it's just a fun time read. I'm really enjoying it. I have a lot of laugh out loud moments. I did with the first one. I am with the second one, and then there's a third one which I cannot think of the title of that one, but absolutely loving it. So if you have not picked anything up by India Holton, I highly recommend that you pick it up. It's a great little series. There's 3 in the series. This is the second one. Could you read them standalone? You probably could, because even though some of the characters from the first book are mentioned in this one, you still get a general idea of who they are anyway, and who they're married to and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, a great fun time read. The other book that I also read in this 2 weeks is The Lost Flowers of Alice Hart, but I'm not going to talk about that today because I'm actually doing this as Meet the Author or Taste Test or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, Meet the Author for the first time, where I'm reading this author for the first time, and I've had a lot of thoughts on this, so that is a separate video, but I also read that. But they are all the books that I have read for the month of October in the last half. In the first half I read 5, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 15 books for the month of October, which is not too bad. And as I said, I've got 3 that I need to close out. I don't think I'm going to get them closed out before the end of the day because I'm filming this on the 31st of October, but I may get this one closed out. We'll see how we go. Okay, so that is it for me today. Don't forget to do all the things, the usual things, like, subscribe, and maybe share this video and let people know that I'm here. As always, leave me a comment down below. If you don't want to leave me a comment, you can always leave me a book emoji. I always appreciate that as well, because that all helps me get seen in the algorithm. But that is it from me today. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and don't forget, keep turning those pages, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.